You can teach anyone how to build a 7-figure music business.
You don't have to be a musician to open a music school.
Would you say you're one of the best guitar players in the world?
I'm probably in the top 1%.
Like, dude, I'd pay you 50 G's if I could play like that.
I got first place in a national guitar competition.
Who do you think the best guitarist ever is?
Ever? Well,
You built a 7-figure and growing music school from scratch.
all of them from zero. We have 4 locations.
Why do you think that there's so many broke musicians when it's so easy to do what you did?
Find guitar players, piano players, drummers, and then give them an opportunity to make money. And then you make money. I expanded during COVID. I didn't shut down at all.
You don't have to be a musician to own a music school. The question is do you want to make 7 figures and do you like music?
I don't think burning out is a thing. I think you just feel undervalued and underpaid. But if you were making $1 billion teaching guitar.
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I got a real treat like I always do, Mr. Zachary Adkins.
How are you?
Dude, what's going down?
Just flew in yesterday. So here to talk about guitar and music and business, everything.
Interesting. I think you might be the first guest ever with the guitar, but folks, stick around because it's not just guitar, even though he does teach guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It's about business at the end of the day, which is what we're known for.
Right.
So you built a 7-figure and growing music school from scratch.
Yep. We have 4 locations.
Times.
Yeah. All of them from zero. We have 4 locations.
So dude, you're just a guitar player. You know, you said you were in the car business for a split second, so you had a little thick skin boot camp in that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Why do you think that there's so many broke musicians when it's so easy to do what you did?
I think it's a mindset that has just been portrayed that if you're not on stage like a Motley Crue or an Ozzy where you're playing in front of millions of people, there's no way to make money. So you're either broke or you're famous. But there's a whole lot in between that, right? There's a lot of other business opportunities you could do, even if it was selling instruments or having any kind of, you don't just have to play music to make money, I guess, right? But they only see the 2 things most of the time.
But at some point you were like selling cars. You weren't playing music or making money playing music, except for maybe a side gig or something.
Yeah, a couple shows here or there that I would make some money. But
so you went and got a job selling cars. But at some point you said, you know, I just thought, man, there's got to be a way I can, because I enjoy music, there's got to be a way I can make money doing what I enjoy.
Mm-hmm. What I did was in 2017, I got first place in a national guitar competition, and I was selling cars at the time. And it started where some people, they saw that on the news and it was kind of a big deal at the time. And people started signing up for lessons. So I started making a little bit of money doing that. And I went, well, I like that a whole lot more than selling cars. So I worked it to where I had a little studio. I was paying like $400 a month teaching just on my own after getting out of the house. And then I remember I got kind of in an argument with the dealer that I was working with at the car dealership. And he was upset about something, and I was making more money teaching guitar than I was selling cars then. So I was just trying to stack both, but I was working all day, every day. And he got mad at me and he said, you can either be a car guy or a guitar guy, and you have to make that choice. And I was like, that's an easy choice. I'm going to do guitar. And I quit that day.
Maybe he said it just because it rhymes.
I think he did. I like it though.
Yeah, well, I think you made the right choice. I mean, when people tell me, dude, you got to follow your passion. You got to follow your passion. No, you don't. This wasn't my passion. I've built several companies that aren't my passion, but you do got to sell something. So when he said guitar or car, well, dude, your passion was music. So the fact that you got to, that's great. You didn't have to, but you did. And for people, I would recommend if you did, because it means that you won't give up as easily.
Yeah.
Because Zach, you'll probably agree with this, but I always tell people the main reasons why people fail, there's only 2 main reasons. They didn't get started and they didn't keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, dude, I know you got started and I know you kept going.
Yep.
That's why you're succeeding. Most people have tried something It didn't work out at first, so they quit. Well, that's why they didn't win. Just get started. Don't quit. So now, and by the way, if you guys want to follow this cat on Instagram, it's Atkins Guitar _official.
Yep.
Do you get most there?
Yeah, I get a lot of followers there. And then my YouTube channel.
Yeah, you got a ton on YouTube. Is that because you're jamming?
Yeah, 111,000 on YouTube.
Is that are those the people that want to learn guitar, or are those the people that want to make money in music?
I think a lot of the people on YouTube just think I'm funny because I'll just do like random stupid videos, and some of them took off that I didn't even realize they would take off. And then I got a lot of followers from that. I did a video about like musicians that are bald and like,
what about them?
Well, that they have like a hairpiece on. I just thought it'd be kind of a funny video. It was more of a throwaway. And then now it's at like 500,000 views. And I was like, that's so dumb. But because I'm doing other videos thinking like these are the ones that people are going to like, but you get like maybe a few thousand views, and that one just took off. And then I did some VIP meet and greet, like an experience I had with a couple guitar players that I went and saw. And I just was not super stoked about the VIP experience I paid for. And that one took off because people are like, I had the same experience. I paid $700 to go do this, and I didn't even get to meet anybody. I just got like a sandwich and a wave. And then, so people really connected with that video, and that one took off too. I still get comments where people will just say like, hey, I had this experience. You should talk about it. And then I'll use that as my content.
Yeah. Well, you should pay attention to what's working. And then just make more of it. Mm-hmm. See, a lot of people, they want to make what they like. The problem with that is not everyone likes the same shit. So sometimes I'll make a video and I'll think, man, this one's going to go killer. And it doesn't do anything. And then I make a stupid video. I'm thinking, well, we shouldn't even post that one. And that one goes crazy.
That's exactly what I did.
And then I start thinking like, dude, do I need to just start making content like that? But then I feel like, no, dude, I don't want to pander. I don't want to do it for views and likes, even though we get like stuck in that. I'm trying to just put out information that I think is going to help people. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't go wildly crazy and popular, whatever, at least it's helping somebody.
Yeah, it helped me. I've been watching your channel for a long time.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I was selling cars, there was a guy, and he was his name was Guy, which is funny, and he was watching Grant Cardone, and I had no idea who any of these people were in the car business because I had just started selling. And even when I sold cars, I had never sold a car before. I just saw that there was a job and they were paying $3,000 guaranteed to sell cars like a draw. And I walked in and he's like, why should I hire you? You've never sold cars. And I was like, well, because I've never sold a car, I will not do it any way other than how you show me how to do it. And he was like, that's a fucking great sales pitch. And I was like, there you go.
That's a good answer.
That's a great answer. So, but I never knew anything about selling cars. My first month I sold 14 because I just was outside all day, sunburned and everything. And I just wanted to make, it wasn't about the money. I don't even remember how much I made. It was more just, I sold 14 cars because they said nobody's sold more than like 5 cars their first month. And I wanted to do more.
What town's that in?
That was in Omaha, Nebraska, but there's like all these little sub towns, like Bellevue and everything. But, he was watching a Grant Cardone video, this guy, and I was like, who's that? And he said, oh, it's Grant Cardone. He does all this. And then you go down that path. And then I saw videos of you two together from back in the day. And then I started watching those videos and the Grant Cardone stuff. And then that was just like all I watched was your videos, his videos. And then it wasn't until a long time later that like guys like Alex Hormozy started kind of rising up and I would watch theirs. But that wasn't until I had a business. This was more just like, how do I sell cars? How do I like not be afraid of people telling me no, that kind of stuff. And I kind of aligned with what you guys were talking about. So that's what I did.
Is it a prerequisite that all people that know how to play guitar have long hair?
No, no. I've been growing my hair since I was in like the 9th grade. And my dad said, cause my dad's a guitar player too, but he was like,
who's better?
Me, like hands down.
Would he agree?
Yeah, probably. But he's like old school, Aussie stuff. Like he's in an Aussie tribute band now. He still just plays that. He didn't get into like the faster shreddy stuff. He was more like classic rock, but he taught me how to play. I mean, I grew up in a town of 300 people. And they were all old. It was like a senior citizen town. And then it was a bunch of little towns that made one school and I had like 40 people in my graduating class. So I had nothing to do but play guitar.
Well, 300 people isn't a town. That's a neighborhood.
It's a, what do they call it? It's a village. So it was a village of Douglas, Nebraska. And it was a bunch of those little villages that made a school. So I had nothing to do. But then on the weekend, we would go to my mom's, and she lived in Council Bluffs, which is connected to Omaha. It's like all the same. So we would go up there, and I just really liked being there. So then I went to school for music. I was majoring in music, minoring in business. So it's already what I felt like I wanted to do. But then I dropped out because I don't like school, and I hated being there. And then kind of messed around a lot with a bunch of different jobs. I worked at Walmart for a while as a manager. But then you stumble into the car business and you kind of get addicted to the selling. You know, you just enjoy when you can, I don't want to say convince, but like when you're part of something and somebody makes a big decision like that and they're excited and then you're excited and everybody's just happy. That's what I really liked about selling. And then again, the whole, well, I'd rather just do this with music. And they're a lot nicer to you because they actually want to take guitar lessons and music lessons. So they don't treat you like shit.
And these are all like mainly in person at your school, brick and mortar.
Yeah, we have 4 locations.
Yeah, folks, he is thinking about going online with his guitar lessons, but you're really made a shift where it's like, you're still teaching people guitar, but you're really excited about teaching guitarists or musicians, period.
Musicians in general.
How to make 7 figures with their music passion.
Right.
Can you do it for anybody? Do they got to be killer?
No.
Do they got to win national competitions?
No. I would.
So how are they doing it?
I would almost recommend they don't, because then you can spend more time building a business rather than getting better at an instrument. And then the next day somebody's better than you and then nobody cares. You know, I would rather somebody who, even if they just like music, they don't have to be a musician to build a music school. I think that's the big thing, right? If you're semi-business savvy and you like music, you can just find guitar players, piano players, violin, vocals, drummers, and any musician that can teach, and then give them an opportunity to make money and bring them into your facility. And then you make money and then you're paying them. And so it all just keeps like circulating in, and then you grow more students, you know, because they don't have to be amazing, right? They don't have to be the world's greatest guitar player, but can they get a kid from 0 skills whatsoever to being able to play some chords and some scales, and then the parents are stoked, the kid's stoked, and then they can take that little bit of knowledge, and then kids are crazy smart with new stuff like YouTube and, you know, the musician apps and all the stuff. They usually just end up coming back, and then they're like, oh, I did like a whole bunch of more stuff than you told me to do this week. And they're like, oh crap, I didn't tell you to do any of that, but good job being resourceful, you know?
Well, I want to talk more about the business end of things, because I think that's what will probably resonate more with my audience, because I got a bunch of entrepreneurs, and what I say, wantrepreneurs, meaning, dude, they ain't really got a business, but they want one.
Yeah.
And they're willing to work. They just don't have the plan. They don't have the blueprint.
Right.
So I want to talk more about the blueprint, because I think that'll help a lot of people, but only from a selfish side. I want to talk about actual guitar, because I believe I am going to finish my life, not my life, but I think I want to be some sort of singer, country singer.
Sweet.
Yeah. So
you got the little voice for it.
Well, I think I have the voice. I don't have a singing voice though. So I've been convinced and told that you can teach someone how to sing too.
Yeah.
Where if like, I thought you either knew how to sing or you didn't. And someone's like, no, dude, you can learn how to sing. And I'm like, well, shit, then I want to learn how to sing.
Yeah.
And I want to learn how to play the guitar so I can be one of those guitar playing crooners.
Yeah.
That go out there and bust out a frickin' ballad or two. Now, country mainly, because my wife loves country music and I want her to swoon over me.
Yeah, of course.
And not only that, I think it'd just be fun. You know, every time I see a campfire, I think, man, I wish I could play guitar, dude.
Yeah. Play a few the country chords, you know?
Dude, if I could play guitar, bro, I'd be every night going out and trying to find a campfire somewhere that I could walk up and be like, hey, how you guys doing?
Right.
Mind if I play a little bit?
Yeah. You get.
Nobody ever says no.
Yeah, they probably want to say no, but they won't.
Nobody says no. And not only that, if you're good.
Yeah, if you actually start playing and you're good, they'll be like, holy crap.
Especially piano, you know, Anthony, like, you know, He somehow taught himself piano really quickly.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'd want to be able to do, play piano.
Yeah. He's the reason I'm here is because of that. He saw my, I messaged on the website and then he sent me I just got this random video from a number I didn't recognize of someone playing piano. And you'd think that's weird, but I'm like, oh, cool. But maybe whatever, somebody just saw my stuff online. But then he said, oh yeah, I work with, Brad and all this. And I was like, oh, you actually play really well. So
it sounds well, but he told me how he did it. And it's like, he's just memorizing songs. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, dude, if you can do that, I want to do that.
You can totally do that.
Because I don't want to play piano. I want to play songs.
Right.
So I don't care that I know every note and every chord and what they sound like. I don't want to compose. I want to be able to sit down at a party when there's a piano and nobody realizes I can play. And I want to sit down and just bust out a freaking damn.
Yep. It's impressive.
I know. And people, some reason, get really impressed by talented musicians.
Music's weird, man, because, it's kind of like another sense, right? Because if you like smell something, like you smell like a fragrance and it like takes you back to your childhood, like, oh, my grandma used to cook something like that. And then it takes you back and you get all these emotions and stuff. Music's the same way. You can hear a song today that you listened to 20 years ago and you hadn't heard it. And maybe that's like the time where a parent passed away or something tragic or something great happened in your life. You hear the song and it like literally just brings you to tears. Like my wife, her mom passed away a couple years ago and she was outside taking out trash next to one of our locations and there was a bar and they started playing. What did they play? I can't remember. Oh, it was the Rolling Stones because that was her mom's favorite band. And she's out there just, having a rough day in general, but then she puts the trash in, she's walking back. They start playing, Start Me Up from the Rolling Stones, her mom's favorite band. And it just instant tears and instant, just like her body, you just react to it. Mm-hmm. And but see, because the way I always explain music is like, music is here whether we understand it or not, right? And especially when you talk about like theory and whatnot, people always think, oh, I don't know anything about theory. I can just play notes. It's like, you don't have to understand theory. Theory is just our way of explaining what the universe already created, right? Because when trees rustle or like there's sounds that happen in nature in general, that's music, right? I mean, everything has a rhythm, everything has a pattern. And most people are actually more musical than they give themselves credit for, right? Because if you were to count from 1 to 10, right, you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, on and on. You wouldn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a natural rhythm that most people can lock into. It's more, they've either been told that they're not musical or like, oh, our family isn't musical at all. But that has nothing to do with it. So when you're saying like, you didn't know you could sing or learn how to sing, of course you can. If you can talk, you can sing. Now, will people want to listen to it? That's a whole other story, right? Because you'd have to like be able to find out where in your voice people want to listen to it, right? Are you a high singer? Are you a low singer?
I'd be a low.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but not too low.
So you're more like you're more like a baritone, maybe baritone to tenor 1, right?
Baritone.
Yeah. So, but is there some people that just don't like that? Sure. Then they don't listen to your music.
Keep scrolling.
Yeah. Keep scrolling. Who cares?
But I also think it's lyrics, the story you're telling, the beat, the music behind it. Like sometimes you hear a song and you just start doing this and you don't even know the song, but it's like,
yeah, you lock in.
I like that.
Because music, it hits us differently than anything else. And that's why there's people that come in for music lessons that haven't taken music lessons since they were like 12 and they're in their 50s. They made their money. They're like, they want to do something for themselves. And they're like, they remember the street that they were at when they took guitar lessons when they were 12. They remember what the house looked like. They remember the address because it's such an important like hit to their brain that music is so involved. And it's actually a pretty crazy thing.
You've heard of Aldo Nova.
Yeah.
So like when I listen to Fantasy, or any of the music from that album, Aldo Nova, I used to think that was a band. That's a person.
Right.
Aldo Nova. I thought it was Aldo Nova and that was the band. Because dude, I mean, they jam, bro. Right. Who plays guitar? Is that Aldo?
I don't know.
Whoever's playing, you've never heard Aldo Nova?
No, I've heard of, but I don't listen to it enough.
Bro. Who do you think the best guitarist ever is?
Ever? Can I? My favorite guitar player is Ace Frehley from Kiss. But that's more just like a personal favorite.
You've heard of Joe Satriani?
Yeah. Actually, my album, I did a cover of his song Crushing Day, and I did it on a 7-string guitar, so it was dropped down to a different tuning. And I released my album on the 25th anniversary of Surfing with the Alien, where that album came off of, because that was the first album I ever bought.
What about Steve and Vi?
Yeah, Steve Vai. So one of the first videos I did when I won that competition, I won a guitar, and it was a 40th anniversary Ibanez that they only released like, I think 100 of. And the first video I did was For the Love of God from Steve Vai. And that got me, maybe a few $100s on like YouTube revenue and whatnot, because you have to share your revenue because it's not my song. But it got me so many students that were like, I want to play that song. So Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, my favorite, like if I'm actually thinking of who I play like that, because I don't play like Ace Frehley. I just like Kiss, the band. And I was just at the Kiss Putt-Putt thing yesterday. It was amazing. I'm super sick. But I would say probably like John Petrucci from Dream Theater, if you ever listen to Dream Theater, and Michael Romeo from Symphony X, and Ron Jarzombek from Blotted Science. Those are like shredder guys, they're crazy. And you got like Jeff Loomis. Now these are all like, so like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai are like, they're the face of guitar because they really changed the game. You got like Eddie Van Halen that changed the game. And then right after that, because David Lee Roth was in Van Halen, and then when he went solo, Steve Vai was his guitar player. So there was this expectation on Steve Vai to be like the next Eddie Van Halen, and he's like, I don't play that way. I mean, he can, but that's not his style. But they were the ones that took it to a whole other level, him and Satriani, and so they're kind of like the face of it. But you get deeper down on the, what do they call it? Like the, I don't even know what it's called. The iceberg. You ever seen that? Like the iceberg theory? Like you keep going down and then you get into these really extravagant guitar players. But
And I assume there's a lot of great ones you've never even heard of.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So how long do you think it would take for me to get good at guitar, at least pretty good, where I can, because I'm not a shredder. I don't even like that shred music.
Sure.
I like when someone picked, like if you grab your guitar and you start going, I like listening to it, but like music, I like the words and the lyrics.
Yeah, it doesn't hit you the same way.
It doesn't hit me the same way. I mean, I like when people pick up a guitar and can go, and I want to be able to do it, but like I wouldn't make music that way.
Sure.
That music is like, is it called heavy metal?
Yeah, shred, heavy metal.
I've never listened to heavy metal. It sounds like they're screaming. The music though is not bad, but it's just too loud, too screaming. Are you a thrasher metalhead like fanatic?
Yeah, what's funny is like some of my favorite artists are like Billy Joel and Elton John, stuff like that. But every time I pick up a guitar, it's metal, and I don't know why. Like I cannot. Can you
play non-metal shit?
Yeah, I can play anything. Like,
well, you brought a guitar. Let's hear a couple songs.
Yeah, I can play.
Let's hear you shred.
Yeah, I can play a little bit.
I want to hear you shred.
Did she just bring it over?
Yeah. Is that a kick-ass guitar? It looks cool.
Yeah, this is a custom one I had made for me.
See, that's the thing too. Like once you get into guitar and you know how to play, man, I can afford the best guitars. So like, right. I'll go get the killer shit. What
cracked me up is when we were talking on the phone. Oh, I'm gonna get closer. When we were talking on the phone, you said you were looking at a Gibson, and I said, yeah, that's probably what, like $4 or $5 grand, and you're like, yeah, that's about right. And then I had said something about maybe doing a Martin or a Taylor, just because for whatever reason. And you said, what do you think of this Gibson guitar? And I was like, yeah, it's okay. And you were like, I'm about to drop 5 G's on a guitar. I don't want an okay guitar. Like you were really just like, I don't want an okay one. But this one here, this is a custom guitar I had made I'm endorsed by Ernie Ball Music Man. So this was, I literally got it because I got an orange 4Runner and I had them paint color match. So this is the only one that exists. It's mine.
Yeah, and it looks cool.
It's sick.
Like I'd play that.
It's cool. And
what is that? Just an electric guitar?
Yeah, it's just electric. But this is, so John Petrucci, the guy that I told you is probably my favorite, the one I play most like, this is his signature guitar. Like, so this is the model that he created to play kind of how he plays. So let me press record on here though.
Yeah, press record so I can play it back for the audience live so they can get the full value. But are we going to be able to hear it in here?
Yeah.
Is that shredding?
That's shredding.
Well, then I like shredding.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of different.
What's the famous? Play some ones that everybody knows.
So you got like
was it Eddie Van Halen that would go? Was it Hot for Teacher? No.
Yeah, Hot for Teacher. It's like kind of a tapping thing, like up here. Yeah, stuff like that.
Like, dude, I'd pay you 10 G's if I could play like that. I might even play 50 G. I might even pay 50 G's, but it would have to be overnight.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. It took me 22 years, but
dude, I started to pick up guitar one time, dude, and like a pussy, I didn't know that it was supposed to happen. My freaking fingers started actually hurting.
Yeah.
And so when I picked it up, it was like, dude, it fucking hurts. So I just kept not playing, thinking, okay, it'll heal. But it never healed because I wasn't powering through. No one told me, dude, you're going to get some calluses. Take a second, and then you won't feel it ever again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Until you start doing harder stuff. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I don't think it's supposed to be hurting.
Yeah. Well, and also, was it like an acoustic guitar?
I don't remember, probably.
Like it wasn't one of these, right? It was like a big old, they call it
country guitar.
They call it a grandpa's guitar.
I call it a country guitar.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But like, so
because you don't see a bunch of country artists walking around with those.
No, probably not. They probably play like Strats or a Telecaster, those kind of the country style.
Or a Gibson J45.
Yeah, exactly. But like,
because I chat GPT'd,
which one's the best?
I want to learn guitar and I want the best to learn for a beginner. And it said Gibson J45 is probably the best for a beginner. But it also said Taylor and Martin had a couple of models. They're like, listen, I mean, if you're a beginner, who gives a shit, basically?
Yeah. I mean, for any normal person that's just out there saying, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this or not. I mean, you can spend $200 or $300 on a good guitar and just, that's the guitar. I mean, the first guitar I had was like a little Fender Squier that my dad got for like $99 and then got my brother an electric drum kit.
So if everybody listening wants to learn guitar, other than finding you and hiring you as their guitar coach, what would you recommend the fastest way to learn guitar if you want to get up and at least be able to play some songs like you actually can play guitar? You're not the freaking shredding like that, but you're pretty damn good.
Are you saying like
the average person that wants to say, man, I like this guy, I want to learn guitar? Well, they're not in Omaha, Nebraska.
Right. I mean, there's so many things on YouTube. There's a lot of free courses.
Yeah. And
depends on what
your YouTube channel just for them is what?
It's just Zach Adkins guitar.
Yeah. Zach Adkins, folks. And that's ZACH.
Yep. ADK, not T, like the diet. It's not like the diet.
Zach Adkins guitar. But, and they can go there and start learning, but I'm talking about like actual learn. Is there an app or like?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's a bunch of like free courses where you can learn how to play, but your best bet, honestly, most people come into the music lesson scene and they do the YouTube or the musician or rock band, and they end up kind of like hurting themselves right away because they don't actually learn what they're doing. They're just kind of looking at the screen. But when you go and sit with somebody one-on-one who has done it, they can say, oh, we need to move your wrist just a little bit like this because, the chord isn't sounding out right. Or they'll play something and the person they learn from doesn't know what they're talking about. They just kind of know that that's a chord and like, oh, that might be this. It might be A minor or a D, but they don't know. And they go, I don't want to get into all the theory and stuff behind it. But if somebody knows what they're talking about, that's probably the number one thing I fix is people's like ideology behind the theory of what they're doing. Cause they'll say like, well, I think I'm playing some kind of minor scale. And it's like, no, that was the major scale. Like, and they go, well, I don't know the difference. So, well, we probably should know the difference. You know what I mean? That's what I teach anyway.
Can you do you teach reading the music too?
Well, I'm pretty dyslexic, so I don't read, but, no, I don't teach reading music. It's because to me, like I'm actually like legally blind if I don't have my contacts or glasses on. So that's a problem. So if I can't see, why would I want to only learn how to read? to play. I'd rather do it by ear. So everything I do is by ear, and then I can read music and I can read tabs, but I would rather just hear it and play it.
What is another famous like song that everybody says, play this one, like Smoke on the Water?
Yeah, Smoke on the Water, probably.
And don't do it too long. Otherwise they'll say, oh, you can't use
Yeah, it'll be monetized.
See, now that's not shredding.
No.
So,
But Richie Blackmore.
The Van Halen one was shredding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Eddie Van Halen was so different because he didn't do anything, or I should say, he wasn't really thinking about the theory. He just really enjoyed the sounds that came from the guitar. You know, he would just play, and people go,
Yeah, but if you
"Oh
can
my God,
play all
that's
the
so
songs,
cool."
do you just sit at home all day and jam them?
Yeah. That's what I was doing this morning at the hotel. She was asleep and I just had my headphones on and I played probably like 30, 40 songs just to warm up and play.
Not only that, it's like if you're killer at golf, you play golf all the time. If you're killer at something, you like to do it.
Yeah, because I write my own stuff. I have an album out. It's called The Future Isn't What It Used to Be. And the next album, I'm working on album number 2. So I'm always writing, I'm always doing something, and I've got thousands of clips or like little pieces of songs, and then I'll come back to them later when I'm in maybe a better mood or something, and then I'll go, hey, that's kind of a cool riff, and then work them out together.
Just to make sure that white mark in the center.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to be perfectly framed.
Okay, so sorry. Is that better? Okay.
It probably is.
I mean, I'm on the center.
We keep it informal. I just want. I don't want to find out after the whole thing's over. He moved to the right, and we couldn't see him.
Oh yeah. I don't even have to.
What was the song that you won the competition with?
It wasn't a song. It was a solo that I wrote.
Yeah, but what was it? Can you play it again, or did you forget it?
I kind of forgot most of it, but no. See, I don't even know. It was something like that. That was like the start of it.
And who figured out that like you don't need a pick if you got your finger doing those finger things?
The tapping. There was a lot of people before Eddie Van Halen, but he was the one that really like he took it to that extreme with like, you know, like Eruption, where he's just like I never learned Eruption because it was like everybody knows Eruption. I don't want to learn it, but you know. Stuff like that.
How long would it take to learn that?
Not very long, actually. It looks crazier than it is. It's more about like, can you get the pattern down, right? Because if you're just playing something like getting this hand to just do its own thing without picking or anything and keeping the strings quiet, it's the little things. But anybody can do that because you just would do that. But then now you add, and you don't want your fingers to like collapse around each other, you know? Most people will like hide their pick and then try to, that's what Eddie would do, or like the other guys are. I don't do that because I'm like, I have 3 fingers here. I can play all 3. I just wanted to have everything. I can even, like sometimes I can, my hands are cold. I'll play scales with this hand and then I might try to like harmonize or something down here. Like
Is that because it's an electric guitar though? You can't do that on an acoustic, can you?
You can do anything. Yeah, on any guitar.
But like, why does it make a sound when you touch it? I thought the strumming is what made the sound.
Well, so the pickups down here,
acoustics don't have those.
No, but they have a sound. It's called a sound hole, and some acoustics plug in too, so it's still capturing the sound.
I know, but when I try that shit, I'm just like, what are they doing? And I'm tapping, it doesn't play. I'm always wondering, like, how are they making it play? You're tapping, and it sounds like you're strumming.
Yeah, well, and that just takes some hand strength too, because like you have to have calluses and stuff. But I don't have to be picking, to be able to play, because you can just do. Right. So that's because I have calluses on these fingers, and just my strings are maybe a little closer to the neck than an acoustic guitar. They're a little further off the neck because you're playing a lot more chords and strums and stuff like that. So it also depends on the
that
guitar.
Turn off.
Oh, I just turned the volume off. But this guitar is really cool because it actually has like an acoustic setting too. So it's like they call it a piezo system. So on the back, it has this in here and it has a battery and everything. So I could push it to here and then the pickups go away and then each one of these saddles actually picks up the sound. So if I had a clean sound,
how much would that cost?
This guitar was like $6,000, but I'm endorsed, so I got it at a discounted rate. And then it's got push buttons on it too. So like if I'm here and I can push these knobs and then it splits the coils and it'll make the guitar louder. It's a little hard to hear on a small amp, but it'll like be like a dB boost. So this will get louder if I push that in and then here, or if I go there. Now it's a single coil.
See, he pretends I know what he's talking about.
So
now it's a single coil. Oh, okay.
So a single coil, so these are humbuckers is what they're called. But back, if you look at like a Stratocaster, right? Like think like Jimi Hendrix guitar, right? That's a Strat. So it has single pickups. So they're called single coils and they got a really twangy sound to them. The humbucker's a little more for like a lot of rock guys like Slash would use those because it just had less twang and more just like full sound.
In concerts where you see the lead dude, they'll keep bringing him new guitars and different guitars. Is that because they're all different and they're going for a different sound?
Most of the time, a lot of the times it's because it's a different tuning. So this is like standard tuning. I tune this to that, but I have guitars that I have a 7-string guitar. So it has 7, a low end here. And then, so I would switch out for a song that needed a 7-string or this one's in standard. The other one might be in like D standard.
So do you have a band?
Just my solo project. And I'm in System of a Down?
Yeah.
So I'm in a System of a Down tribute band called Chop Suey. And that one I have 3. I have 3 guitars. They're all in the same tuning, but they tune differently. But my rig is set up to where it'll tune my guitars differently for me. So I don't have to switch, but I want to because they look cool. I have like a gold one and a silver one and a blue one. And I just want it to look cool.
All right, would you say you're one of the best guitar players in the world?
I wouldn't say that, but I would say that I'm probably in the top 1% because, it's like that bell curve, right? Like a lot of people can kind of play and, everybody's, they might be able to play some chords or a couple songs, but you get to this other level of being able to play anything all the time. And the theory is there. So I'd say probably the top 1% maybe.
So let's go to the business side of things.
Yeah, let me put this down.
For people that are like listening, okay, they want to start a business. They're not as badass of a guitar player, but they're willing. Like, does someone need to learn how to teach, or can they like hire teachers and start a business when they're not even that great, but they like the idea of a music business?
I would suggest that anyway, if they just want the idea, because music lessons is not, people make it more complicated from a business standpoint than it really is. You're offering a service to people, kids or adults that want to learn music, and that's it. So if you overcomplicate it by trying to add all these different elements and all these different like layers that they can get, you end up losing people, right? And I don't know what it is, but people do that a lot. We've had to let go of a lot of different teachers that don't want to follow our way of doing things, or managers that kind of go, well, I just want to do it my way. And it's like, well, your way doesn't work. This way works. But so like, could you buy, like if you had the money and you wanted to buy a law firm, but you can't because you're not a lawyer. You have to be a lawyer to buy a law firm. That doesn't mean you couldn't have a lawyer buy that law firm with your money and run it, and then you still make the money off of it. Right?
Well, I can buy a law firm.
Are you a lawyer?
You don't need to be.
In 48 states, you do.
No, you need to be a lawyer to practice law.
Even if
you don't need to be a lawyer to own a law firm.
I was talking to my lawyer friend about that, and because we were looking at that, and you have, according to the whatever board of ethics and the whatever, you have to actually be you have to be a licensed lawyer to own a law firm.
If that's true, that's a scam and a half.
You have to.
Why?
But
Who cares?
Because they don't want you to
do I got to be a
profit.
doctor to own a medical practice?
You might. I don't know.
Well, then how do these corporations own these fucking hospitals?
I think because they act as, I mean, there's a way to do it, right? You just act as an investor.
I'm going to find that out real quick.
Yeah,
I
Google
don't
it.
necessarily think that's accurate, but if you're right, dude, that's a scam and a half.
Yeah, look up lawyer. You have. So
I'll just chat GPT it. Everyone acts like chat GPT's gospel. I'll see what it says. Let's see what it says. Watch. Hello there. Good afternoon. Hey, tell me if you must be a lawyer to own a law firm.
there's 2 states where you technically don't.
Good afternoon. You're right. In most of the U.S., you generally do need to be a licensed attorney to own or have an equity stake in a law firm. But there are indeed a couple of exceptions. For example, in states like Arizona, they've changed the rules to allow non-lawyers to have an ownership interest in a law firm. So it's not totally unheard of.
So which states am I allowed to own a law firm if I'm not a licensed attorney?
I'm going to have to look that up.
So the main standout right now is Arizona. Arizona has pretty notably opened the door for non-lawyers to have ownership in law firms through what they call alternative business structures. That means non-attorneys can actually have an equity stake or even fully own a law firm there. Other states are kind of watching and considering changes, but Arizona is the big one that's already made that leap.
Well, they should change them. Now, let me ask you this question. Do I have to be a doctor to own a medical practice?
Yeah, that's a really similar kind of situation. Generally speaking, in most states, you do need to be a licensed physician to own a medical practice. It's part of that whole professional corporation rule where they want the actual licensed professionals to be in charge. But there are some workarounds. For example, you might see management services organizations where a non-doctor can own the business side of things and handle the administrative part, but the actual medical practice itself is still technically owned by the licensed physicians. So it's a little bit of a dance, but that's the usual way it's done.
So what you're saying is there's a workaround.
Exactly. You got it. There's definitely a workaround.
Okay, now last question. Do you have to be a musician to own a music school?
Now that one's a lot more flexible. You actually do not have to be a musician at all to own a music school. In fact, a lot of music schools are run by business-minded folks who just have a passion for education or for music in a more general sense. So yeah, you can absolutely own a music school without ever having played a single note yourself.
There's what I'm talking about. See, that should be the case with everything.
I didn't.
But hey, for the listeners, that there you go. I guess you can't just go buy a law firm. You can't just go buy a medical firm. I was planning on buying a cosmetic surgery place. So when I'm 5 years older, I'll have a discount.
A place to go.
Yeah, because I'll just own it.
But
I didn't know you can't own it.
Here's what you do. So what I'm planning on doing, potentially, this is all potential, but I'm planning on just being the investor and having my lawyer buy a law firm. And then he buys it. He gets the SBA loan. And then
you better trust your lawyer.
Well, yeah, I do. But, he gets the loan, but he doesn't know how to run a business the way that I, with the marketing and all the stuff that I've done with my stuff. He knows how to be a lawyer because he's a lawyer. And then he has stake in the game because he has the SBA loan. He has to pay it back. I don't have that, but my money would go into it. So you could do something like that. Now, with what you're talking about, it may not be like a medical facility is different, right? If it's just like, cosmetic stuff, you could still be
surgery is medical.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but there's different layers of it too.
Yeah, I was just joking.
Oh, okay.
But at the end of the day, I did not know that. I always assumed, well, dude, I mean, you can have any business you want. You can't practice law unless you're a lawyer, but I can own a law firm and hire lawyers. And that was the point I was going to make about the musicians. Because again, there's going to be people listening. They're entrepreneurs. They're not musicians. And they're like, well, this ain't for me. I'm not a musician. Dude, you don't have to be a musician to own a music school. The question is do you want to make 7 figures and do you like music? If you like music and you want to make 7 figures, my man Zach here can show you how to do it. He went from freaking nothing to 4, done it 4 times, and now is teaching other people how to do it. Usually people out there teaching music. So if you're teaching music and you want to learn how to make 7 figures teaching music, then you go get a hold of Zach. I was saying, well, all you have to be is a musician, really, because maybe you're not a teacher and you don't do it, but you want to, and you know how to, play music. But now I was thinking, you don't even have to be a musician. Like, dude, if you're just looking for something, you've been waiting around going, man, I wonder what my next venture is. It could be music, because you can teach anyone how to build a 7-figure music business.
True.
Why not 8-figure?
I mean, you could do 8-figure. It depends on how you'd want to scale it. For me,
what's required?
Required to open a school?
Yeah.
Well, probably the capital, but more like for us when I started mine, I just started in my house, right? So I already had everything I needed, just amps and guitars and stuff. But if somebody were to like come in and do it, they would need a little bit of capital to say, hey, I got to lease a space, right? So you go look for a space that has maybe 5, 6, 7 rooms, like maybe an old chiropractor office or something that's already done. So you don't have to worry about a build out, right? That saves you a lot up front. You just get in there and then you start saying, all right, this room is the drum room, and you buy the drums. So that way you don't have drummers taking their stuff if they leave, right? You can buy really inexpensive, fully weighted pianos, right? So the keys are weighted versus like being like lightweight. You don't want that. You want fully weighted for people. And you just buy like 4 or 5 of those for $400 a piece. You buy some guitars. You can go to the pawn shop and pick up guitars for a couple $100, some amps. We buy everything the same. So like same brand, and I buy everything brand new now, but back then we didn't. But I just want people to come in and have a really nice, cables and nice stuff. So I mean, you're looking at maybe $30,000 if you wanted to just get that going. And then you find teachers in your local area that want to teach and they want a place to teach, because maybe they can only fit 10 people in their house because their wife doesn't want people in there every day, which is what happened to me. That's why I had to go get my first space, because she didn't want people in the house anymore. So
don't blame you.
Yeah, my wife. So yeah. And then, but then I just started, like, it was $400 a month for a little place for me. But then I found this building, and they're everywhere. How many freaking vacant buildings there are that are, they're just for lease, or like somebody's bailed and now there's just this room, and they'll take a month-to-month deal and you just go from there.
What do you think most people out there that already have a music school and they can't figure out how to get past, low revenues, what do you think they're doing wrong?
I think that they are limiting themselves on how their lessons are structured, how much they're charging, because people don't charge a lot. You'll see people say like, oh, I only charge $15 for an hour. And it's like, okay, well, if you're teaching out of your house, $15 an hour sounds good. But if you're in a school where you have, bills to pay and a lease to pay, you have to have some kind of leverage. And then you have to pay your teachers enough to make sure that they feel like they want to stay, so you get good teachers, right?
Well, not only that, but dude, like $15 an hour, that's like minimum wage nowadays.
Right.
So who would want to work for minimum wage?
Musicians that are broke because they already only make minimum wage, and they're thinking, that's the mindset shift, right? They're thinking, well, if I just charge $15 an hour for my time, that's the same as working at McDonald's for $15 an hour, but I get to do what I love. But eventually the thing that you love becomes your job, and then you start hating it and you resent it, and then you don't want to play anymore because you're not making any money. Then you feel burnt out. But I don't think burning out is a thing. I think you just feel undervalued and underpaid, and that leads to what you feel is burnout. But if you were making $1 billion teaching guitar, you'd never be burned out, because you would literally have that much more energy to do so. But I think most music schools, they don't expand into multiple locations. They're in a spot that doesn't have enough people to drive in high revenue, and they're probably next to another place like a Guitar Center or a School of Rock franchise or something like that that's pulling most of the students. They need to get away from that and go to like the outskirts of their town, or like what we did. We're in Omaha, right? So Omaha is like the metro area, but there's all these little sub areas around. So we have a school in Elkhorn, which is technically Omaha, but not really. It's called Elkhorn. It's a very like high end part of town, right? So they got a lot of more disposable income. Then we have our other school in Gretna, same thing. It's still Omaha, but people in Gretna don't want to go to Omaha, because it's by the time you jump on the interstate and you get into Omaha, and then you only have a half-hour lesson, and then you got to jump back on the interstate, go home, get dinner. That's a 2-hour extravaganza for a parent, versus I can go 3 minutes here, drop the kids off, go to the grocery store, go pick up dinner, pick them up within a half hour and be home in one night. That's the key. That's what sells.
What can they learn in a half hour?
I would not recommend anything more than a half hour. And I tell people that because, especially if you're a kid, right? Kids can pay attention for maybe 15 minutes at a time, unless you're really engaging with them, and they'll have games and stuff that some of the teachers will do. But it's not 1/2 hour. It's 1/2 hour every week. There's a consistent thing. You give them just enough to take home to where they're not overwhelmed and they do nothing. But then the next week they come back, they accomplished it. Now you move on to something new and then you build off of it. So it's half hours that stack over a long period of time.
How many half hours do you think I'm going to need before I'm decent?
From absolute beginner, I would say, to me, if you were my student, it would be like the first day you're learning a couple of chords that I already know a few songs to that you would know, like maybe some Eagles songs or something that's pretty easy to strum. And so I would say within a month, I could have you playing a couple of songs, even if yeah, probably. You're not going to be playing, the Van Halen stuff and tapping and all the cool stuff where most people want to be. But there's that idea, right, of you overestimate what you can do in a year, you underestimate what you can do in 10. Hell yeah, I was waiting because ChatGPT technically got the first bomb. I didn't, but that's the thing, right? People will go, well, I want to learn how to do this. And then a month in, they go, I don't want to do this anymore because I suck. It's like, no, you don't suck. Or you do suck, but that's the point. You want to until you don't anymore. It's not practice until you get it right. It's practice until you can't get it wrong. And that's how you continue, right? Same thing in business. But people, they're very short-sighted. And here's something, if I want to talk to musicians specifically, I would say you can start a music school or make money in music because if you're a really good musician, you obviously have some form of ADHD, OCD, you obsess about things, and you can be like, I can play 20 notes a second. You can't just play 20 notes a second by accident. You know what I mean? That takes a lot of time, skill, and development. Well, that's all business is. You might only make, $100 your first month, but then you take that $100, put it into an ad, $100 ad, and then you keep working your job. And that's what I did. $100. And then I put it into an ad. I got 4 students at $150 a piece. Well, I paid back the ad spend. I instead of going and buying a guitar like an idiot, I put it right back into ads. So I spent $300 my next month. And I just kept doing that over and over again. So by 3 months, I was able to quit my job. And then the second school after I built that, it was right in the middle of COVID too. I expanded during COVID. I didn't shut down at all. We had 100 students by the time COVID had ended. We were at 250 students.
Did you wear a mask?
Yeah. If people, people asked us to, so I would, but not when I was inside. But some people would say, hey, do you mind? And I'd say, yeah, I'll wear one. To me, it's more about, did you ask me? And if versus you have to. I don't like to have to do anything, but I will if you ask me to.
Yeah, that whole.
But we're not going to get into
thing was lame.
It was.
Dude, listen, I'm all for helping people, but I'm also intelligent. I like to think somewhat intelligent, and I use common sense.
Yeah.
And the common sense tells me that mask ain't stopping shit.
Yeah.
The particles of this COVID would go through the fiber openings like it was a chain link fence. So like the mask is doing nothing but annoying me and restricting my breath.
Right.
Like, are you trying to keep from being spit on? A mask would make sense.
Right.
But you're trying to not get sick, which this mask doesn't stop it. Makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, and even at the time they knew that, but they knew
it. They knew 6 feet apart didn't do anything. And then you would be 6 feet apart outside the airport. And then when you got on the plane, you could be right next to them.
Yeah.
Or the restaurants, I don't want to rehash it. It was just stupid. Yeah. And dude, I didn't fall for it. The only time I put on their stupid mask bullshit was on an airplane because they wouldn't let you get on one without one. And so I went and found a mesh breathable mask that looked like a mask on the outside, but on the somehow I could still breathe. Mm-hmm. It was annoying.
The thing that annoyed me with that was I had a gym that I would go to often, and I got in my car and it had, their private business. So it's like, okay, if that's what they decide and I want to go there, then I have to do what they say because it's their private business, right? In my private business, we can do what we want. But so I put on the mask and then the little thing ripped. the earpiece. So now the mask keeps falling. And I'm like, shit, well, whatever. So I just kind of like do this and I hold it, and I go in there and we walk in, you go to the left and I'm talking to the guy and I'm holding it with my bag and I'm like, yep, ready to check in, and I do the little thing. And he's like, you need to have a mask that's secured. And I was like, bro, it's on my face. And he's like, yeah, but it has to be like cinched on there. You can't have one that's broken. I said, what's the difference? So now I'm arguing with this guy about it because I don't like stupid. Like, I don't mind doing things if there's some sensibility, but now you're just being pedantic and weird and dumb. So then I was like, and then I look over and I go, nobody's wearing a mask in the gym. Because once you go past the front desk, you don't have to wear a mask to work
That's
out.
what I'm talking about. Stupid.
It's the stupidity of it. I don't mind, like I said, well, I don't normally wear masks when I was in there during the time, but I had an 80-year-old student and he came in and he said, look, man, would you mind wearing a mask for me? Because, I just want to make sure I'm good. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Anything you want. Because that's me being a human with another human, not you better or else, you're going to get this and this and that taken away.
What's with the Wayne's World?
It's one of my favorite movies. And
Is that a hat you wear every day, or do you just
I wear it every day.
here?
I wear it every day, all the time.
I keep seeing your brand everywhere too. Zach Adkins shirts, your brand.
That's just my wife.
Do you have guitars or anything? Zach Adkins guitars, guitar strings, picks.
Actually, right when COVID happened, I was looking, we built a few guitars. We used like this company in China that was making them, and then that company shut down, and then I couldn't find one that I liked the quality of. So we kind of stopped, and then I got endorsed anyway. So it was kind of like, all right, I'll just go
Right
this
now
route.
you're supposed to say, go buy an Ernie Ball.
I'm not supposed to say it, but I mean, I play them because I just like them and they play really well. But
Well, what should I get? An Ernie Ball?
they don't have acoustic guitars. So you would unless you wanted an electric. Yeah. But
That's what I just bought my daughter because she wanted an electric.
yeah. Yeah. Well, they actually have
Too late, I already bought it.
Well, okay. But they do have like the Sterling models, which is kind of like you got Fenders that are, $3, $4, $5 grand, but then you got the Fender Squires, which are just like,
I just want to have
Stuff.
the one everybody wishes they could get.
yeah. That'd be, well, it depends.
Isn't that why we buy expensive shit? Just so we can look cooler than everybody
Absolutely.
else?
yeah.
Like, I get my car. It's like, I don't really like Rolls Royce, but dude, am I going to look fucking cool?
People, that's why I
what
got my
everybody does.
4Runner.
So I want to do it with the guitar. So when I pull out my guitar, everyone goes,
Like, whoa.
bro,
Yeah.
is that a freaking Fender Stratocaster?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, it's the J45 Double Eagle.
Mhm.
What's that one?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
And I'm really just joking.
I don't think
I mean,
that's a
I'm not
guitar.
joking, but I am joking because I want one that is easiest to learn and play so I can get good. And then I'll get a really nice one when I'm good, because I might buy a $5,000-$6,000 guitar and then never play it.
Mhm.
So might as well buy a $400 guitar and never play it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think if I spend on a $5,000, then I probably will play it, because I do really want to learn how to play guitar and how to sing so I can serenade.
yeah. Well,
I can croon.
yeah. Well,
What if I end up fucking a big country singer?
you could. You'd have
From a phone booth in Cheyenne. See, I don't know how to sing, but when I start to sing these country songs, I'm like, that sounds pretty close. If I had practice, I might even sound good.
you do. That sounded fine.
I won't wear a cowboy hat though. I'll be one of those baseball hat wearing country guys.
Sweet. Get you a Wayne's World hat.
Yeah, maybe. Well,
Well-
nowadays in country music, you don't need a hat. Jason Aldean does wear a hat, but he also has ball caps. Tim McGraw, I think he's always in a hat, isn't he?
I think it depends. I think a lot of them wear hats because they're going bald.
And someone said, why country, dude? Well, because that it suits my voice, my
It does.
baritone.
I would agree.
I'm not going to try to go do fucking Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, you're not going to be screeching.
One day I was playing, or not playing. I was at a karaoke bar, and I was thinking in my head, oh, Stairway to Heaven. That sounds pretty easy.
That's high.
And I know, but you don't realize it when you're thinking it in your head. You hear it like the song sounds, and you think, oh, I'll do that. So I got up there, dude. That is one difficult song to sing.
Yeah.
I couldn't even freaking fake it half-ass. It was terrible.
I look at it like this. If you're not 6'5", right? You could be good at like basketball, if you put in the time and effort and energy, but you're never going to be as good as the guy who's 6'5" because he is pre-positioned to be that way. Like to be at a high level for that sport because his body just works that way, right? But there's the same concept of like basketball doesn't make people tall. Tall people gravitate towards basketball because they can be good. And then, but of course, you got like the short. What was that one? The short guy back in the 90s on basketball.
Spud Webb.
Maybe. I don't remember.
For sure.
Yeah. And then there was another guy though that I can't think of his name. But anyway, he was really short. He was an amazing basketball player, but he's never going to like be able to dunk the ball the way that, you know, a 6'5", 7 foot guy will. Now, when I'm talking about music, you could probably try to sing like Axl Rose and those guys, but your voice and your body you're not predispositioned to do it. So you're always going to be struggling versus like they're coasting.
But I
so
could
for
sing
you,
like Elvis.
yeah, if you sang like a low side where you're kind of down here a little bit, you know, like I got friends in low places,
Garth Brooks, for sure.
you know what I'm saying? Like you could do that.
But people say, why country? It's also because, well, that's what my wife likes.
Yeah. Country's good.
And I'm only doing it so my wife likes me more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know
It's
if
the truth though.
I don't know.
Like
if,
I want to do it because, you know, she loves country music and she loves country. And so I'm like, you know, okay, well, let me be a country singer then.
Yeah.
All I got to do is learn guitar and sing.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal. Yeah.
oh, that's true.
Oh, really?
I did. I sang some Justin Timberlake on our first date. I just thought I was trying to be a dork, you know, I had nothing else to do. So I just sang to her. And then she was like, this guy's a freaking weirdo. And then she was just hooked.
See?
But, you know, and the thing is like my point on the whole like basketball thing, you know, you could be a low singer and that just fits your voice and you don't have to try as hard. You just fit the role. Like me, I'm like a tenor 1, tenor 2, but which is kind of mid-range. But as I've taken like, cause I inject testosterone now, my voice has gotten lower, which is pretty dope. But like, I know on the guitar exactly where I can sing and I can sing and play everything on the guitar as I sing. So the guitar actually matches where my vocal range is, except for the really high parts, but I don't try to sing down there. Let someone else do that. Right. And for you, I think that you could very easily fall into the low end and learn how to sing, because learning how to sing is no different than talking. You're just talking, and you're talking with a purpose in your vocal range, right? Because if you just start singing like this, you already hit that note when you were talking. You just have to know that that's the note you want to keep hitting and then strengthen your vocal cords. You can learn to sing.
And breath work, breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to pass out.
All right. What can the Bomb Squad do for you, Zach? How can people connect and support what you're doing?
Well, I have my Instagram, the Adkins Guitar Official, and my YouTube channel. You can subscribe there. But also if you're somebody that wants to, either you're a musician or you just love music and you want to build a school, reach out, because then I can help you, you know, or partner with you or
Build
whatever.
7 figures.
Yeah. What's that?
7 figures.
Yeah. You can make 7 figures. I mean, that's what we do. And I could help you do that. And then you go, well, but I don't know how to play. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Are you the right business minded person to put people in the right spot? Because that's really all business owners are, right? They're just really good at putting people where they need to be and in the right role. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But can you go in and find people that are good? And you may go, I don't know if they're good. Okay, well, find somebody who knows if they're good. Or talk to me. I'll tell you if they're good or not, or if they're worth teaching. I mean, we have teachers that I'll say this. I would rather find a teacher who's more upbeat, super nice, loves to work with families and kids and stuff, and they're a pretty good musician. You know, maybe they know it pretty well, than somebody who's really great, but they suck with customer service. They're kind of a dick to the parents and they think they're better than everybody and they treat the environment like shit. Right? I would rather have this person over here that's just fun and makes things more.
What about, okay, so if you guys want to make money, hit him up. If you guys want to learn guitar, obviously hit him up. What if you want to work for you and be one of your teachers?
You'd have to live in the Omaha area for what we do now.
There's people that listen to this in Omaha.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I did. So you'd have to live in that area in order to, but yeah, we have positions open: piano, guitar, vocals, drums. That's our core 4 is what we call that. Those are the ones. It always goes piano's the highest, guitar's second, vocals are third, and drums are fourth. So those are the ones we really look for. And then if those people know how to teach other things like violin or flute or, you know, like trumpet and stuff like that, but you're never going to make 7 figures teaching trumpet specifically. Like if you're a trumpet only school, that's going to be very difficult.
Nobody learning trumpet anymore.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Fucked up.
We have like 2 trumpet students. I think out of 800.
Well, you know what? My dumbass in school picked the fucking trumpet like a dumbass. And you know how it gives you a fat lip?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, you know, man, I want to go like Chuck Mangione.
Mm-hmm.
This looked cool for a
Chuck
second.
Mangione. Reminds me of King of the Hill.
But dude, you had to blow hard and my lip kept getting fat.
Probably numb too.
It was stupid, you know? I'm like, shit, I should have picked saxophone or something.
Saxophone is
I should have
cool.
picked fucking saxophone. That's the cool one that everyone like wishes they could play.
Saxophone is the guitar of the brass world.
Yeah, but knowing what everybody knows now, dude, guitar's gonna get you the ladies. Piano's gonna get you the ladies. Drums might even get you the ladies.
Yeah.
Saxophone might get you the ladies. A trumpet
No.
ain't gonna get you nothing but a fat lip.
Bass guitar just gets you a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, and the bass,
But here's the
bass guitar. That's the one that's
yeah. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about bass, and I say that as a kind of a joke. But on that point though, of you know, I lost my idea because I was making fun of bass players. Once I make fun of bass players, all bets are off. You could be, as long as you're passionate about the instrument, I guess, like you can teach it. But it's like, it's the same thing. Like you could spend 8 hours making mud pies and no one's going to pay for them. Or you can spend 8 hours doing something that someone's going to want to buy from you. And that's the one to go to. So if you don't play, man, 2 bombs in one episode.
Final bomb of the day.
Yeah. So, but that's my point. It's kind of like, you ever see Joe Dirt?
Yeah.
So that part where he's like, well, I only like sparklers. He's like, it doesn't matter what you like. It's what everybody else likes. You need like all these different, fireworks, but you only sell sparklers and nobody's buying shit from you. That's what it is, right? People think they hold on to their instrument because it's like the thing they really love, like they put in all this time and energy and emotion into it. It's like, so what? Go learn the piano so you can make money.
Yeah. And if you teach the flute, don't nobody want to learn the flute, dude.
No. But
throw
I
your
think
flute down, throw your clarinet away.
Yeah.
Go get yourself a guitar.
Yeah. You want to
drumsticks.
Cool. Exactly.
Strike them ivories.
Yeah. I mean, and with other people that you don't, the whole point of this whole episode is to say like, yes, you don't have to be a musician to open a music school. If it's something that you really like and you want to put your money there, do it. Find other people that are good at music and leverage their skills to help you make money. And then, but the other point too is you're helping them make money and they're going to be just as happy whether they did it on their own or without you.
Another one.
And then you help, but at the end of the day, you're helping people want to learn music. And that's where the satisfaction comes from, right? Like that's what keeps it all rolling. Cause you see, we'll do recitals and the kids get up there in their little dresses, and there's 300 people and they're really scared, but they get up there and they sing and then the parents are crying and they're like, that's
dude,
what
you could be shaping the next like star too. You never know, dude. They start young. That's what I like about it.
Exactly.
Well, dude, I like everything you're doing. I obviously know you're going to continue to grow and scale. The Bomb Squad is going to do what we can to support you. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Folks, you already know, as always, till next time, keep it real.